Thanks for visiting the page. The purpose of this video is to walk you through how the Abusive Tow Authority is getting an average reduction of 25 to 60% on inflated tow bills. How we do this in less than 7 days. We want to walk you through how it's possible that we have a 93% plus success rate as of 2020 and how we're able to guarantee our work. My name is Dan Olivieri. I'm a senior partner at Morgan, Cohen & Bock, and I'm one of the founders of the Abusive Tow Authority, the ATA, a division of MCB or Morgan, Cohen & Bock. The ATA's main mission is to protect the transportation industry from abusive tow companies and the tow industry as a whole. Unfortunately, the tow industry has been able to successfully rob the transportation industry. I'm talking brokers, I'm talking carriers, I'm talking insurance companies for hundreds of millions of dollars over the last 4 decades, and we intend on putting a stop to this. We intend on shutting this down and stopping the transportation industry from having to deal with this constant abuse. So before we get any further into what this is, I want to walk you through a little bit of my story so you understand and can put in context who we are and how this all got started. Because if you've done any research, you know that I'm not someone that specialized in tow originally, and you know that our company, Morgan, Cohen & Bock, didn't actually specialize in this either. In fact, I specialized in optimizing and protecting accounts receivables for businesses, and Morgan, Cohen & Bock is a commercial mediation litigation company, right? So how did we get into tows? Well, what ended up happening was we were doing a lot of work for the transportation industry. We're representing brokers, we're representing carriers, we're representing insurance companies in subrogation. And eventually what ended up happening was we realized that salvage was a very good way to mitigate loss for all parties involved during our mediation, during our litigation. So we geared up a salvage department, and if you've been in the transportation industry for any period of time, you know that if we're in salvage, it's not long before we deal with a bad tow company, right? So lo and behold, one day we walk in and we find out that we do a deal and there's a buyer coming to pick up a load, and not a surprise to you, all of a sudden the tow company decides nothing's getting released. Well, we end up gearing up, our team, because we had a team locked in already for mediation and litigation, and this wasn't too far from that type of world. We stepped in, we took a process. We didn't really know exactly what we were getting into, but we knew enough and we knew how to move companies. And we went in there, we did our thing. And next thing you know, we were able to get the truck, trailer, and cargo released. And then we had an insurance adjuster reach out to us, praising us, telling us how fantastic it was. They've never seen us move this quickly. They've never seen something like this happen so fast and so easy. And we're thinking, hey, no problem. We're glad we can help. We didn't charge them anything, nothing. We walked off. That's the end of the story. Well, 2 weeks later, bam, we get hit with another one. All of a sudden, we're dealing with another tow company with the same messaging, with the same story. It was literally like the second tow company came from the same school as the first company, which is ironic because later on I find out that this is actually a thing, right? These tow companies have been doing this for decades. And then all of a sudden I figure out that there's actually is schools out there and attorneys out there teaching tow companies how to basically rob the transportation industry. And then after that, we started realizing that we needed to build an arm in our own company, the Abusive Tow Authority. Originally, it was designed for just our own use, right? When we had these problems, we were going to walk in and we were going to be able to protect ourselves. And then as we got really good at it and we realized that we had a success rate of over 90%, that all of a sudden we were like, hey, we'll offer it out to the public. We'll see if anyone else needs the same kind of help. And that's how it all started, and we never went back. As we've gone deeper and deeper down this rabbit hole, what we've discovered is that the tow industry for over 4 decades, has stolen billions of dollars. I'm talking billions with a B from the transportation industry. I'm talking insurance companies, I'm talking truckers, I'm talking brokers. They have literally killed small carriers at a moment's notice by just locking up the truck and the trailer and stopping the carrier from being able to make a living. I mean, this is disgusting. I mean, you're talking about literally wiping out people's livelihoods, decades of work and hard building. And it's just, again, it literally makes my stomach turn. The way that they're doing this and the way that they're doing this so successfully is a classic strategy since medieval times. Divide and conquer. There's so many people involved with any non-consensual tow. An accident happens on the road with a semi, you got a carrier, you got a broker, you got a shipper, you got a receiver, you have an insurance company. Sometimes you have several insurance companies. Sometimes you have several adjusters. And the thing is everybody has their own agenda. Everybody has their own interest. Everybody's looking to get their own thing, right? Nobody's working together, and to be frank, it's kind of impossible to work together. But what happens is it makes it a perfect situation, literally the perfect storm for a tow company to slip in there, use the divide and conquer, turn everybody against each other, right? Carrier against broker, broker against adjuster, insurance company against insurance company, shipper against receiver, literally turning everybody against each other, getting that storm nice and brewing, and then they step in and they just offer a beautiful solution for everybody. If you just pay the bill, it all goes away. In addition to all this chaos, guys, the worst part about it is there's no protection out there. See, the thing is non-consensual tow is not federally regulated, which means that everything's handled on a state level. Everything's handled with an individual regulatory body. And the problem is some states are really put together and some states are terrible. I mean, and when you break down to the inconsistencies, you could even go within one state and go from venue to venue to venue to venue, and you can see how each venue is literally enforcing the laws of the state in a different capacity or with a different level of intensity. So not only is the inconsistency from state to state, but it can literally be from county to county. Bottom line is the Abusive Tow Authority is coming in to hold tow companies accountable. And when I say tow companies, I'm talking about the entire tow industry. I'm talking the attorneys that are making hundreds of thousands of dollars in fees being an accomplice to this crime, and I'm going to call it a crime because I feel like that's exactly what it is. I'm talking about the schools that are teaching these practices. And we're even going a step further. We're now putting a spotlight on government officials and regulatory bodies that are contributing to this problem by not holding the tow companies accountable like they're supposed to be. So this is how we're doing it. We're starting with education. Okay? Education is key. One of the number one issues we find when we look at these tows, when we look at these mediations we're handling, every time we go through litigation, is what we're finding is a common denominator of lack of education. Because the laws change from state to state to state, if you're an adjuster, if you're a trucker, if you're a broker, and you're in multiple states, it's almost impossible for you to know all the different nuances. So what we want to do is bring education your way, so that the transportation industry can be completely informed on what they're looking at when these issues pop up and exactly how to address them and exactly how to mitigate their loss as a whole. Our first line of defense is the Abusive Tow Authority's free inflated tow bill evaluation hotline. So let me walk you through what this is so you kind of understand. Now, I'm not calling it a consultation, and the reason I don't call it a consultation is because it's not like you're going to come in, we're going to give you some advice, we're going to tell you that we can handle the case for you, then we're going to ask you to give us a retainer check, which is usually what a consultation looks like, right? What this is literally a crisis hotline where you're going to be able to go online, right? And you're going to be, you can submit the bill, you could submit the problem, you could submit some of the tows. Within minutes, you're going to get a phone call from our tow analyst team. Our tow analyst team is going to break down the bill, answer any questions that you may have, and then advise you on how to actually handle the bill, not by sending it to us, but how to handle it internally to mitigate your loss. Now, we're always there if you need us, but we want to give you what you need to be equipped to actually handle it, to save you on cost. And if you don't need us, we don't want to charge you to do something that, again, you don't need, especially if you can handle it yourself, especially if we can give you a couple tips here and there that will actually work. The next two steps is join the LinkedIn ATA page, right? So go to LinkedIn, find the Abusive Tow Authority page, follow that page. That page is a place where we're posting content on a daily basis. We're teaching you for free how to combat tow companies. The next thing you want to do is you want to request to join the Abusive Tow Authority forum. Okay, the Abusive Tow Authority Forum is made for the transportation community. It's a place where transportation professionals, insurance brokers, carriers, right, we're talking about real life tow situations. It's facilitated by someone in our office that's actually going in live and giving you explanations and giving you tips on how to deal with live situations that you're running into. It's literally a forum so you could protect yourself in real time. Now, after you're all educated, after you have everything that you need and you're starting to understand what you need to do, the last step here is action. right? So the Abusive Tow Authority, as you know, goes in and gets these bills reduced, gets your truck, trailer, and cargo released. We have over 173 attorneys in our network. We have over 300 private investigators and a team of top-notch mediators. So let me get into the actual process so you know what to expect. So the first thing is that you're going to go on the page, you're going to submit a bill to us, right? What we're going to do is within an hour, we're going to reconstruct that bill. And the site's going to ask you all the questions necessary. It's going to ask you for pictures, the bill, and all that good stuff. We're going to send it to our tow analyst team. Our tow analyst team, remember, these are all people that have worked in the tow industry. They worked either in billing, they've been a supervisor, they've been on the ground actually conducting the tows, and it's ran by a second generation tow owner, right? And what they're going to do is they're going to look at the entire scene and they're going to reconstruct the bill as if they were out there doing it. So they're going to know how much equipment out there, what the personnel should have looked like, what was really needed to get it done. Then what they're going to do is come back within an hour and tell you how much that bill is supposed to be. Now, if the bill's legitimate, we're going to tell you the bill's legitimate. We're not going to get in the world of trying to get people to reduce bills that are not legitimate, of course. But if it's not legitimate, which most times it's not, we're going to be able to tell you exactly why and by how much, so you can make a decision as to whether or not you want to go down this road. Now, once we've done the reconstruction, the next thing that's going to happen is it's going to go to a mediator or an attorney, and then we're going to initiate our communication. Well, here's the key. What makes us so successful is our mediators and our attorneys don't call the tow company and say, hey, we think this bill should be this because it looks a little too high. We go in there and we say, look, you sent 4 rotators out there, you really only needed 1. You had 2 low boys out there, you only needed 1. You had 6 people out there and 2 supervisors. You could have done this with 2 people and 1 supervisor that was actually working. And by the way, these administrative fees are crazy. So we go in there with real information, and that allows us to literally show the tow company that not only are we contesting it, not only do we have the big stick where we can litigate and file for the writ of replevins and all of these different things, we also know exactly what we're talking about. The last step is litigation, and this is the last resort. Look, we don't want to get into court. We don't want to step into court because it takes too much time and it costs too much money. But here's the thing. I say that, but I want you to understand that we're absolutely ready. Okay, if we need to go to court, we're successful in most of our cases. But less than 2% of them go there because we understand that all the time and all the money that's invested. So that is the process. We're going to go reconstruct. We're going to mediate. Less than 7 days is our goal, right? If they don't want to cooperate, we're kicking them off the rotation list or holding the governing bodies accountable for holding them accountable, right? And then the last resort is litigation. So just to conclude this, again, 95% of our accounts are concluded successfully in less than 7 days. We have 95% of our accounts do not escalate beyond mediation, right? Almost every single case ends up with the truck, trailer, equipment, and cargo being released in a timely manner. Most clients see a 25 to 60% reduction. And remember, if you're in trouble, get us on the hotline. Go ahead and submit your form, submit your bill. We're going to review everything. We're going to call you back within minutes, and we are going to literally coach you through exactly how to protect yourself, and we're going to do it fast, and we're going to do it easy.